Lens of perspective. All right, let's talk about your lens of perspective in which you view yourself and in which you view the world. And we may want to first and primarily focus on how you view yourself, your identity, what you are capable of, how valuable you are, how worthy you are. Because for a grand majority of you, it's in a place where your lens of perspective is one that is self-sabotaging, self-damaging, something that activates a war zone within you. And so let's use the example. Say that this orange represents being not a very valuable person. So as I go about my day wearing the lens of perspective of not being a very valuable person, I'm going to feel like a burden. I'm going to feel like I'm not worthy of good and great and wonderful things such as love, kindness, and compassion. Because oftentimes when we feel like we don't have value or worth, then we feel like we're not worthy of people treating us with kindness, respect, things like that, which means that I'm going to, with my lens of perspective, I may perhaps overuse my energy to show up for people in ways that make me an enabler. Then I may begin to do things such as be a people pleaser. So if a person feels like they're not valuable, then oftentimes they feel like people are going to reject them. And that shows up as people pleasing and lack of boundary setting and letting people walk all over you and taking care of others in a way what you're actually neglecting your own needs. And these are all different ways a person could choose to show up in the world, which is very frequent and common when someone feels like they don't have much value or worth. And that's a lens of perspective. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true. Just like if I wear these orange glasses and I look outside and everything looks orange or has a yellowish tint. Look, I have these lights to light me up here. Uh, the lights look orange, but does that make it true? No, when I remove my lens of perspective, the lights look white. That, indeed, which they are. And so, what we're going to do here is a very fun game, a scavenger hunt, because your beliefs, your subconscious beliefs, they act as scouts. They act as little scouts. And what do scouts do? They find things. They find things and bring it back to you. And so if the belief is the scout and the scout says, I'm going to find things to make you believe even more that you are not valuable, that you're not worthy, that this, that, and the other, right? That's a limiting belief. That's a limiting belief. That's a limiting belief. And there's a woman named Pam Grout who wrote the book E3 or E cubed. She's the one where I got the idea from as far as calling beliefs scouts. And it's one of the best analogies I have ever heard so far because it is so true. Essentially, the way that your subconscious beliefs operate is they are looking for things out in the world to match your beliefs. And then when you see it, it reinforces the belief. It reinforces it. And it's going to see those things or perceive them that way just so you can reinforce what's already there. That's how the subconscious mind operates. So if I say something to you like, all right, over the next 15 seconds, take a look at everything in my digital screen here that you can see and find as many shades of brown as you can see. Find as many shades of brown as you can see. And see how many different shades of brown can you see. And the more you find, the more you win. The more you find, the more you win. Who can find the most shades of brown? And then all of a sudden, your mind is going to turn certain things that are not shades of brown and actually turn them into shades of brown. For example, right up here, this little redwood tree needles that are this time of year, they start to turn orange. This little shade of orange, you might say that it's brown so that you can get another point and be higher on the ranking system. Essentially, this is how the subconscious mind works. Whatever you, in that example, you're using your conscious rational mind to go and intentionally find brown. But if your subconscious mind has the belief that you are unworthy or not valuable, then your subconscious mind is wearing that lens of perspective to go and find things to prove to yourself how true it is. Even though what you're seeing might be false, your perspective of that is reinforcing it and it's changing the perspective in such a way to match your current beliefs. So, what's the opposite? I want you to write down at least 5 limiting beliefs that you have about who you are and your identity. Press pause right now and write it down, write it down, write it down. Did you press pause? Did you press pause? Okay, so now that you have 5 different limiting beliefs that you know you've identified with your conscious rational mind that they are limiting beliefs, but you know that they are only showing up true because you choose to believe that about yourself, and then it makes it how you show up and see things. Now I want you to press pause and write down what you want each limiting belief to be converted into. Converted into. So if the limiting belief was I'm not valuable, the empowering belief that you converted into is I am valued. Or it could be I provide value. I provide value. I provide value to others. So do this with each of the limiting beliefs that you came up with. And as a reminder, level 2 has over 80 common examples of limiting beliefs. Level 2 really teaches you how to work with your limiting beliefs. And once you have those 5 written down, press pause if you need to go and do that, and then resume when you are done. Do not skip this. Do not skip this. Do not skip this. Now, what you have written down as your new empowering version that represents an identity that you want to embody and become and take on, and just how you want to show up in this world for yourself and others, those are going to be your empowering beliefs. And now scan through it and circle your top 2. Circle your top 2 that are standing out to you right now. And don't worry, you can do this with every single limiting belief that you want to convert into an empowering belief. But let's start simple. Circle 2 of them. And heck, if you want to circle 3 or all 5, do it. Don't let me limit you. And what you're going to do, what you just circled, is now something that you're going to use your conscious, rational mind to be a scout to go find those things that you just circled. You are going to intentionally be very much so on the lookout for these things. Be on the lookout for them. Be on the lookout for them. Be on the lookout for them. Remember this, do this, remember this, do this. This is a game. We're turning this into a game. And every time that your scout delivers something back to you, because of how you showed up, or because of maybe how another person responded to how you showed up, perhaps, then you are going to post and you are going to say, hey, my scout just found, my belief scout just found something amazing. It showed me that I do provide value. My scout showed me I provide value. My scout showed me that I am lovable. Maybe it showed up in the form of a dog loving you because you have kindness in your heart because of how you are treating an animal. Maybe it showed up in the way that a child smiled at you. Maybe it showed up in the way that someone said thank you when you held the door open. There's endless ways that this can show up for whatever your scouts are looking for. Turn this into a game. And what this does is it's a fun way to begin to shift your identity towards that of which you want. And it's keeping it at the forefront of your mind to remember to do this, do this, do this, and get competitive in here. Get competitive in here. And I'm going to come up with rewards and things that you can win, for example. I don't know what that's going to look like quite yet. I'm going to have a section in the Kings of Courage community so that you can post every time that your scout delivers evidence to you. Whenever your scout delivers evidence to you that your new empowering belief is true and is indeed who you are and how you show up. And you can do this with any limiting belief that you have. Any limiting belief that you have. And the more that you do this, the more that your scouts are going to easily and effortlessly show you, show you, show you. And in time, it'll be so easy and effortless because it's just how you show up and realize who you are. What a fun way to do this. I'm really excited about this. Our subconscious beliefs 100% of the time are acting as scouts. And if we have subconscious beliefs that are limiting us, those scouts are in action all the time, constantly forcing you to wear a lens of perspective to see yourself in a limited way. And when you believe that you're limited in that way, then you might actually begin to show up in that limited way. That's actually how it works. So if you believe you have low confidence, then you might show up a little bit timid or shy because that's who you believe that you are. But when you say, I'm going to look for evidence today that I'm confident, I am choosing to look for evidence today that I'm confident. When you even just say that to yourself, it's going to change the way you begin to show up. You are literally speaking to your subconscious mind and opening your subconscious mind to new possibilities. And you're telling your subconscious mind, you do indeed show up in confident ways. And each little way or big way that you see it, you want to give it attention. When you show up in your new empowering way, you want to give it attention, celebrate it, give it attention, share it with us. Do this as many times per day as possible. Do this as many times per day as possible. And you may only want to start with a very small select few, because if you're trying to juggle like 20 at once, it's just going to be overwhelming. Start with like maybe 1 or 2. I would say start with 1 or 2. Start with 1 or 2. Unless you can juggle more and it be effective, then don't let me limit you. But for most of you, I imagine just starting with 1 or 2 is going to be enough. And just play with it. Send your scouts of confidence, send your scouts of reaffirming confidence, or reaffirming you are valuable, or reaffirming you are indeed in control of yourself. If you have the limiting belief that you're not in control, what can you control at all times? Your breath and a lot of other things. But what can you control about yourself at all times? Your breath and many other things. Go to the breath. Prove it to yourself. Literally do 1 minute of breath work and you just proved to yourself you are in control. And keep doing this and expand upon it. Do this and expand upon it. You're always going to have scouts. It's time that you control what those scouts are looking for. If you do not have control of what your scouts, let me reword that. If you choose to not have control of what your scouts are looking for, it will, in most cases, deliver things that are harmful. But when you choose to control what your scouts are looking for, then you have so much more power and control of who you are and how you show up in this world. let's turn this into a fun game. Let's turn this into a fun game. And this is something to be celebrated and shared in Bravery Bootcamp and in the Kings of Courage community. Post this in as many places as you possibly can. Talk about it. You know, maybe message each other about it. Because when you do that, you reinforce the neural pathways for you showing up in that way even more. When you see it within yourself, then you can grow that part of yourself. Whatever we see within ourselves is the part we're growing. Whatever we see within ourselves is the part we're growing. And let me touch on that a little, because if you see a part of you that's hurt and wounded, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be hurt, grow the hurt or grow the wound unless you feel that you're powerless. So you can say something like, I see that I'm healing. And I see that I am fully capable of it. I see that I am healing, and I see that I am fully capable of it. I see that I have courage. I see that I have autonomy, self-control, choice. I see that. I know that. I recognize that within myself. That's who I am. That's who you are. Did you know that that's who you are? I knew that that's who you are. And when you see it too, just watch this explosion of incredible courage and healing and lowering resistance and surrendering into whatever it is you need to do for you to get yourself to the next level. Yeah. So, your subconscious mind has beliefs that are always scouts to reinforce those beliefs. When you realize you have limiting beliefs, convert them into empowering ones, and now use your conscious, rational mind to be on the intentional lookout to see and give yourself evidence of why the new empowering version is true. And you do that long enough and enough times, then eventually it becomes your new adopted subconscious belief. And now you begin to see it without having to think about it. It's just who you know you are. 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 I feel good about this. This is fun. I'm so excited to hear about what your scouts are delivering to you. All right, that's it for now. See you in the next lesson.